The shoot today is in the Nashville Holiday Inn in the Bounty Lounge, where they literally have a ship built right into the lounge as part of a bar and seating area. What we're trying to do is work with the existing light to keep the lighting pattern of the room. One of the problems with this shoot is that it's such a vast space that it would take many lights to light up all these different areas, approximately 20 to get into all the different areas. I, of course, don't have 20 lights hanging around and don't want to pay the rental fees, so one of the things I decided to do is to light paint the room. Many times working with interiors, you do not have sufficient light to do completely existing light exposures. There's many ways of adding light. You could add just standard lights on light stands. You could light paint, or you can work with the existing light and add lighting in other manners. Light painting can be done with various sources. You can bounce the light, you can use it direct, you can use tungsten light, or you can actually use a strobe. The easiest to use would be an incandescent or tungsten light, because you can actually see exactly where the light is, whereas using a strobe, which although is very possible, it's a little more difficult to aim the light because you don't know where exactly it's going to fall. If I'm doing an extensive amount of painting in a room, I'll usually use incandescent or tungsten bulbs. And if I have just a little spot here and there, for the portability's sake, I'll use a battery-operated strobe. Photographing interiors, we need a lot of depth of field because many times there's objects right in front of the camera as well as 50, 60 feet away, and sometimes even larger. So we need quite an amount of depth of field. Using wide-angle lenses, probably f32, 22, 45 in that area. Sweeping. Get it twice, come down, get
the shutter is open. The photograph is being taken right now, but with the very small aperture, very little is registering on the film except those areas which are being hit with Kenik's bright light. The photograph is literally being painted onto the film with light, and as long as David doesn't shine the light on himself and keeps everything moving, neither the lamp itself nor the photographer will be seen in the finished shot.
In light painting, you can get a various amount of effects, all depending on the angle that you place the light, the direction, the number of directions, the number of angles. One of the ways to reduce your shadows is to literally swing the light as high as you can reach and as low as you can reach. This will keep the shadows in a rotating pattern, which will diffuse them. And if you do this from enough different angles at the right positions, you can actually eliminate shadows and still add quite a bright light. Photographing interiors, I work with very long exposures, a minute, 5 minutes. I think my record's about 11 minutes. And with exposures that long, you run into reciprocity law failure. What reciprocity law is itself is that by doubling your exposure time, you're doubling your exposure. The failure is that by doubling your time, obviously you're no longer doubling your exposure. This happens anywhere between a 15th of a second and a 10-second exposure or longer, depending on the certain type of film that you're using. Say with Ektachrome, a 30-second exposure by your meter actually needs a full minute, and that is determined through reciprocity law charts.
Pictures that have been shot using the light painting technique give no clue as to the light source. If applied evenly, no hot spots will result. If applied with broad, sweeping motions, no strong shadows will be seen. The technique, if used correctly, allows one simple light to cover vast areas.
Plug into the extension cord waiting for me. Get this floor area here. Walking down this aisle nice and slowly.
Light painting isn't difficult. The difference between an existing light shot and a light painting shot can be dramatic indeed.